Good morning, third graders. We are on Unit 2, Week 5, Vocabulary. So let's get started on our vocabulary PowerPoint for this week. Our first vocabulary word is one that we've already learned, main idea. The main idea is the most important point of a story. Remember when we look at this picture, we see that the main idea is where you would sit on the stool. The main idea is supported by details to help us understand the most important part of a story. So main idea is the most important part. Plural possessive nouns. Remember, plural possessive nouns, they show ownership to more than one person, place, or thing. We add the apostrophe after the S, typically. So for example, when we see the first picture, the boys' hats. There are two boys and two hats. More than one, so we need to make sure that we write it as a plural possessive noun, where the apostrophe is after the S. Singular possessive nouns. They show ownership to only one person, place, or thing. Typically, we add the apostrophe and then the S. So for example, the dog's bone. It's one dog and the bone belongs to them. So we read it as the dog's bone. Comparisons. We've seen a similar word, such as compare, in our previous vocab. Comparisons are the same thing. It's how something is like something else. So we're trying to find the similarities. When we look at this picture, we see that there are two apples. Although we can see some differences, when we use comparisons, we try to find how they are alike. So for me, I see that they are both round, that they both look kind of smooth and shiny, and I would know that they both came from a tree. So I'm trying to find how they are alike to one another. A paragraph. A paragraph is a group of 5 sentences with the same idea. We've been finding paragraphs throughout our school year in our fresh read tests. So a paragraph, remember, typically has about 5 sentences with the same idea before we move on to the next paragraph. I like to think of it as sometimes like a hamburger, where we have multiple paragraphs or multiple things in a hamburger to make it a complete hamburger. Humorous poem. They're often funny and entertaining poetry. So when we think of humorous, we think of kind of a funny poem. This poem is all about recess, and boy, do we know how much our third graders love recess. Free verse poem. A free verse poem sounds just like it is. It does not follow the rules. There's no rhyme and no rhythm. It's kind of free, meaning no rules. And lastly, source, a place where something comes from. So we can think of like light is a source coming from a candle, a flashlight, a lamp, a fire. There's many different places that light can come from many different sources. I also like to think of sources as when we do research. Often we use Google or other forms of sources to find information to support our main ideas. So third graders, make sure you're practicing your vocab throughout the week. Remember, you can use Quizlet. You can make your own flashcards and practice at home. Good luck, third graders.